Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Counselors of Scholars. Welcome to the next episode of Sesame Street. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sesame Street, where we're learning a new word together. It's called sensationalism. Now, you probably have heard this word quite often used by certain YouTubers who love to use that to control the negative narrative around Marathon. Let's see. What does it mean, Mr. Gaming Counselor? Let's find out together. Sensationalism, the use of exciting or shocking stories or language at the expense of accuracy in order to provoke public interest or excitement, which is exactly what Sony is doing about Marathon. Sony is sensationalizing their own game for the lack of real truth and facts. Here we have is this I think it's Fire Chat side or whatever bullcrap. It's just a little podcast just to kind of give you caught up because we're not watching the full thing. We're just focusing on the part where they talk about Marathon, which is really funny. All this seems very insincere, and that's because it is. Remember, this is posted on their official website. It's on the Sony website. It's Fireside Chat is what's called. I see it in the links. It's very intentionally set up in a way to make investors happy, right? And you've got to be careful about these billion-dollar companies who are about presenting things in a more positive light because investors, money, all that matters. And so why am I saying this? Because this whole thing skips some of the truth, right? Some of the matters that we should be covering that isn't acknowledged at all. And it seems like Marathon's not being delayed. Like, it doesn't seem like that's the case. I don't think it is. I think they're gonna shove it out the window as is uncooked and everything. But yeah, we're gonna watch this. I just want to make it very clear. These are not like on the spot questions that's being answered. These are all like based on a prompter. Even the answers themselves are based on the prompter. It's very disingenuous. It's very detached. It is very obviously this is just for our investors, and we've got to make things sound good. Sensationalism. This is the true word, the use of the word right here. When you have this not entertainment, but this presentation in order to make investors and people interested in Marathon feel as if things are better than what they are. And we know that's far from the truth. So we're going to watch this and we're going to kind of go as we go and fill in the blank as we go. There's also like an article about it. I didn't want to read it. I just figured I'd just watch it. But essentially, we have the guy that's going to be mostly talking is the PlayStation Studio chief, Herman Holst, whereas the other guy is the Sony CEO. Like, yeah, he's just kind of chilling there. He talked a little bit at the beginning. We're gonna jump in, and what they were talking about, we're about to jump in. They're talking about Helldivers specifically and how successful it was, and which is funny because they shot themselves in the foot and actually caused it to go down because of their own stupidity. But they're talking about monetization and how even though Helldivers is a paid product, they're hyping up the NTX, which is already a red flag for me. So let's jump into it, shall we?
I think is further evidenced in how we deal with the monetization. So microtransactions now in that game make up more than half of the revenue. We're also... By
the way, I don't know how to get rid of the stupid bar that's just there. It's really annoying.
Excited about Marathon's...
So just bear with me.
In this fiscal year.
Great. Speaking of Marathon, what have you learned from your foray into live games?
Something to note he just mentioned, and I skipped over it.
We're also very excited about Marathon's anticipated launch in this fiscal year.
I have a feeling they're not, because not only are they not excited, but the players themselves are not excited, or at least maybe 10% of the grander scheme is okay with it. Most are not excited for this. Even your most dedicated Marathon fans are even saying, hey, we need to delay this because you can't deny the fact that the thing is going to be burnt alive if they don't.
Great. Speaking of Marathon, What have you learned from your foray into live game services, including Concord? And how does this relate to Marathon and the recent alpha test?
Yeah. So live service, we really see that as a great opportunity for us. But with this great opportunity are some unique challenges associated.
Yeah, I mean, when your game that cost $4 million is scrapped, that's not a unique challenge. That is, there's nothing to overcome there, right? The challenge is something like, we're going to persevere. We're going to try to fix this. Concord's dead. It's dead, Jim. It's dead. And then you have Destiny, which is pretty much not been lucrative for them at all. I mean, even Sony came out, with all the leaks and stuff. Sony came with the lawyer, like ex-lawyer for Bungie, was like, yeah, the head honchos, the CEO told them to get their head out of their asses because they weren't meeting financial expectations. I mean, that's why we had multiple layoffs at Bungie, is because they were not meeting financial expectations. So you can't sit there and say, yeah, we're being successful here. No, you're not.
Associated. So we talked about it, some early success.
Yeah, that challenges.
Yes, as with Helldivers 2, we've also faced some challenges, as with the release of Concord. I think there's some really good work actually went into that title, some really big effort. But ultimately,
no, he's not wrong. Effort was put into that title, but the effort that was put in that title was not catered to the larger audience. Like, it's just like Marathon, where you scratch your head and said, what game is this for? Who's this for? Because it wasn't for anyone. And Marathon is all over the place. It has no identity. And that's kind of like one of the biggest problems. It has nothing that really is innovative. It has no identity. It doesn't have that, wow, that's exciting. I really want this. I know that we have people that are stupid saying, oh, the lore, even though unironically, there is no lore. And we got this one where the narrative director, the person who is supposed to be working on the narrative, is now the creative director, which I don't know how that makes sense, but yep, it happened very recently. Steve Cotton was the original. I don't know where he's at. Unfortunately, our friend here he's still the art director. I don't know how he is. Like, he really should go bye-bye. But yeah, I mean, it's just, let's keep going.
That title entered into a hyper-competitive segment of the market. I think it was insufficient.
I think it not only did it come into the hyper-competitive market, it was also just not catered to anyone. Marathon is starting to enter a competitive. There's it's not competitive consoles like Delta Force. If I just do this most simplest Delta Force, Google Delta Force Steam charts. This is also on console. Yeah, free to play. Absolutely doing it. In fact, it's doing better than Destiny. Their current live service game that Sony wants to gas up. That and MLB The Show. What? Okay, MLB The Show Steam chart. What is it? This one? MLB I'm doing this live. I'm not when I say live, when I'm recording. Could we please hurry the crap up? Live channels 1. Wow. Really breaking the bank with viewers here on MLB The Show, huh? Wow. Is this a new game? Nope. I hope it's not, because it's definitely not thriving that much. That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that, Chief, but that was something that they talked about earlier in the chat. Is MLB, here, this is their chart that they're showcasing. Here's our things. I think really their only successful is Helldivers. Let's check it. Helldivers Steam charts. let's see, how are they doing compared to like Destiny? They're actually doing better. Not by much. Like they had an increase. I mean, a higher time than Destiny alone. But yeah, they're doing better than Destiny. There's that for you.
Efficiently differentiated to be able to resonate with players. And so we have reviewed our processes in the light of this to deeply understand how and why the title failed to meet expectations and to ensure.
I'm sure if you talk to gamers, they will tell you why Concord failed. And I know there's like, yes, I do think that there is some wokeness in there, but I think it's not even the wokeness. It's the agenda that they wanted to push, like unattractive, over the top unattractive. Like no one wants to play a fat person unless you're memeing on like Dark Souls, right? You have the fat McDonald's looking hair. Like you're doing it for the fun. But most people don't want to play as fat people. I'm sorry. I know people want to play fat people. People want to look hot. They want to look sexy. I'm not saying we need big boobas and big booties and Mr. Macho Man, but people don't want ugly. Something appealing to the eye. That's why people like they buy MTX in the first place, is if they can make their character look sharp and clean. That's why they buy MTX. They don't buy MTX to give overalls to the fat person. I'm sorry. That's not being insensitive. Fat is fat. Get over it.
Sure that we're not going to make the same mistakes again. As I said earlier, we've introduced much more rigorous processes for validating, for revalidating.
I'm sure.
Our creative, our commercial, our development assumptions and hypotheses, and we now do that on a much more ongoing basis. And that's the plan that will ensure that we're investing in the right opportunities at the right time.
It is funny that he mentions this because they are investing in an extraction shooter at the wrong time. Not only is it kind of late to the party, but you have all these other extraction shooters. Like I said, we have Tarkov, the Reigning King, Delta Force, which is getting up there. Then you also have Arc Raiders, which, yes, there's some drama with that now, which is really weird that people have swapped between that and Marathon. But I'm pretty sure Arc Raiders will still do better than Marathon because people hate Bungie. And that's just a reality, especially with the art theft, right? But they're releasing a very subpar title in a very niche environment, even though, and they're not really bringing anything home. They don't have any lore made, at least from what people were talking about at the time, that they had 3 months to figure out a freaking story that no one's going to give a shit about, because it doesn't look, anyone who cared about Marathon is like, yeah, this isn't Marathon. And the one map that everyone keeps citing as, oh, you gotta be excited because it's like raid style mechanics, even though that specific map isn't going to be there on launch, which makes no fucking sense. Which we'll get to what they need to do to make Marathon pop at the end. I'll give you my opinion, right? But the big key of the sensationalism is that they're overhyping the processes, but Bungie kind of do whatever they want. And we know that they do because Sony isn't interfering in anything, it seems like. I mean, we've heard about the whole process within the company, that the people working on Marathon, the environment's toxic, leadership isn't listening. It doesn't look good because if a team isn't working correctly or isn't happy, then the game itself isn't going to turn out well because the passion's going to be soured because of crappy leadership. And whatever hypotheses they're thinking of and talking about, it's like, bro, you're not checking Marathon, because if they were truly doing what they needed to do to make sure this game was doing well, then they would have never had art theft. If there were already checks and balances and make sure everything was flowing well, there would not have been the whole drama, which, by the way, he's not addressing at all. Like, no, we're not going to act like, man, we're excited for Marathon, even though right now everyone is calling it plagiarism, will make me god the game. That's also why PlayStation pulled all marketing And it wasn't even in the PlayStation Showcase at all, which is pretty damning.
All while maintaining much more predictable timelines. For Marathon, it's our goal to release a very bold, very innovative and deeply engaging title.
It's definitely bold. It's not innovative. There's nothing about Marathon that you can't get in any other game. There's not. Oh, but secrets. Oh, shut the fuck up. I'm so tired of YouTubers gaslighting everyone saying, oh my God, the lore. That doesn't exist. The lore that does exist in secrets. Wow. You know what's funny is once the secrets are found, the magic is gone. It is just baffling to me that that is the center point of what makes it more magical. Wow. Again, sensationalism, over sensationalizing things that no, the accuracy of that, like, oh, that's what's innovating. No, it's not innovative at all. And like I said, Sony right now is trying to sensationalize their own game, though the fact is, and based on what we've seen from gameplay, there is no innovation. There's nothing exciting. It's literally they took ideas from Joe Ziegler and Valorant with like a hero shooter and slammed it with Fortnite and Tarkov. They just slammed all these ideas together and say, hey, we're going to make it work. And it's not working.
It's going to be the first new Bungie title in over a decade. So we're really excited for that release. We're monitoring, we're going through the test cycles, we're monitoring the closed alpha cycle that the team has just gone through. We're taking all the lessons learned, we're using the capabilities that we've built in analytics and user testing to understand how audiences are engaging with the title. And
let me finish.
Some of that feedback, frankly, has been varied, but it's super useful. That's why
it's been varied. I'm going to tell you right now that it's not been varied. It's been a small population that's been positive about the game, and it's overall mostly negative. I don't know anyone who's like, Marathon, I'm really excited for it. No, it's more like, yeah, I'm waiting to see how this dumpster fire turns out.
Why you do these testing and the constant testing and the constant revalidation of assumptions that we just talked about, to me, is just so valuable to iterate and to constantly improve the title. So when launch comes, we're going to give the title the optimal chance of success. And this cycle.
It is insane that they're talking about optimal chance of success. If they don't delay this, and it sounds like they're not going to, you're not giving it the chance it needs to thrive. Listen, I'm willing to try to play the beta and give it a fair, actual hands-on fair shake, even though I know I'm not going to enjoy it nearly as much as like any other extraction shooter. But dang, come on. You can't say you're going to give it the most optimal chance and you're not actually going to give it the most optimal chance. When you feel the need to pull your own marketing, either due to the art theft or because you just don't want to waste resources on marketing on this game, you are not giving it. By the way, if you're not even marketing the game, you're not giving it the optimal chance. Optimal chance would be highlighting this game in your showcase, highlighting it in ads, making it more eyes on it. You're not actually giving it the optimal chance to shine and thrive because it's all been bad news. This is like the first time that Sony has actually mentioned anything about Marathon, and yet they're trying. It makes it seem, again, sensationalism, as if it's actually better than it is. Like things are going to be great. And player engagement is, yeah. What engagement? I mean, I guess negative engagement is engagement, but I don't know if that's the kind of engagement you want with your game.
Of test, of iterate, test again, that is such a key component of the live service success, both leading up to launch, but also throughout the life of the game.
By the way, success, based on Bungie's leaders, it has to be top 5 to be considered successful. Even if they made changes and improved the game, I do not think it will be top 5. I don't. There's no way in hell it will ever be top 5. In fact, let's go look and see what currently is the top 5 on Steam. Top 5 games on games sold on Steam. It's just top current global: Counter-Strike, Stellar Blade, I didn't even know PUBG was free. PUBG, Dune Awakening, Five Nights at Freddy's, which is not the most. This is just for. Is this for like this year? Maybe, huh? Top 5 may not be hard if they're talking about Steam. If this is like the most rating, follows online peak. Top currently global selling Steam games. Okay, so I mean, top Five Nights at Freddy's and a free game, 2 free games. It may not be that hard to get there. Maybe I'm wrong, though. I don't know if this is the best way to see. Right? Is there any other chart overview? Let's see. Top selling games. Yep. Oh, okay. Here we go. We got an entirely different view. Top selling games: Dune, Five Nights at Freddy, Counter-Strike, Stellar Blade, and Marvel Rivals. Which Marvel Rivals has been out for a while. We'll see. I mean, let's see. What is Marvel Rivals? Even though Marvel Rivals, you don't actually sell it, but Marvel Rivals, just for at the bottom 5, what is the minimal to be considered Steam? Okay, the past 24 hours, we're looking at 115. I would be surprised to see that much on Marathon. I'm going to be honest. I would be very surprised to see. I know for a fact it will never be that, but I will be surprised to see if Marathon ever reaches in the, 100Ks. I would be very surprised.
And we're committed to continuing to leverage our learnings to maximize engagement and player satisfaction throughout the life cycle of the title.
Great. What is your philosophy around creating IP? Is it a priority, and how do you ensure that it is differentiated?
At our core, we believe that great new IP originates from passionate teams with amazing ideas. And it's our job as leadership to create an environment, to foster an environment in which these teams can succeed. As leadership, we support them with the tools.
Man, it's almost like that is only true for maybe Sony, but it definitely isn't true for Bungie, because again, we know per Bungie employees that the work environment is toxic, and it's been that way for 5 years or more. Leadership doesn't listen, isn't wanting to take from developers who actually want to make a good game. I'm sure there are people in the Marathon team that do want to make a good game. Is everyone in Bungie or under the Marathon team, are they responsible for the art? No. Like there's, you got like Miss John. You got John, and he's out there making guns, and he finds out about the art theft. Like, what the heck? I didn't do that. I wouldn't have been stupid enough to steal art. I make guns, man. I can feel for the people who are kind of thrown under the bus because of crappy management, which is still going.
The capabilities, the structures that they need to develop those ideas into successful new IP. So we recently formed, out of incubation, 2 new studios, Dark Outlaw Games and Team LFG.
Team LFG, I believe, is the group of Bungie developers that were removed from Bungie into the new team under Sony Studio. And so they're making like gummy worms is the code name, right? Or gummy bears.
And I think that kind of highlights further our commitment to the creation of new IP, as well as to our approach to innovation. These 2 teams, they're new, but they are comprised of veteran developers from across all different pockets of the industry. Their vision and their ideas have blown me away, and the passion behind it, I really and honestly cannot wait to help shepherd their projects into success. So both by investing in strong vision-led creative teams.
Okay. He's just this is just more just PR for, it's just PR, right? I don't have any music for you guys, so we're just gonna have to sit there and all these rambling on, we'll play in the background. So the biggest problem that I see outside of this just being a big PR for their investors is the dishonesty about the state of Marathon and the Bungie team. And I think that there isn't a focus that is being applied. Obviously, they don't want to highlight the things that are wrong with the game, which is funny that even the CEO wanted to say nothing about Marathon. Just take note of that the CEO had nothing to say about Marathon. And like, I'm not talking about this game. I'm not talking about it. If you want this game to succeed, by the way, they people are like, oh, well, Sony, so there's no way Sony is going to let Bungie fail. And you know what? They will. I can see them letting Bungie fail, right? We know that the big wigs in Bungie are about to get a big paycheck, a pay cut. They have no reason to stick around. And Sony wants control because they got a crappy contract, right? When they got, essentially, Bungie has more freedom than what they probably should, which is part of the problem. And Sony's already been upset. We already know that Sony has gotten onto them. We already had layoffs because of Bungie's incompetence. Sony wants live service games. They want success. They have their vision. And right now, Bungie is not meeting the vision for them. And I can see that they're going to want to clean the board on the actual board. I mean, they have one person. I think the staff guy or whatever his name is, Herman Helman. Crap. Just so I get my people right. Herman Holst. The first time I ever heard this guy. Yeah. So he's on the board apparently. But they're gonna want to wipe the board. He's also from Sony. Before you think he's not actually Bungie, but he's on the Bungie board. He's part of Sony. They're going to wipe the board. They're going to absorb Bungie. I don't think they're going to get rid of Bungie, the studio itself. They might get rid of people. They might absorb. They might take over the company. But I don't see them actually getting rid of Bungie, the name itself. People are stupid. And when they think Bungie, they think Halo, even though the people at Bungie currently only a certain percentage remains that were around during the Halo days. But people are stupid. They think Bungie, they think Halo. And with the competition that PlayStation's currently going against, Xbox has Call of Duty and Bethesda, all these big name companies, and then you think Bungie and Halo on PlayStation, right? Except there's no Halo on PlayStation yet. But it's obvious that they pulled Marathon from the microwave, or the fridge, should I say. They're trying to put it in the microwave, and it's not really cooked right now, to try to compete as another sleeper title. And had they done Doom reboot, I think it would have done well. I think it would have been a great a reboot if they made it a single player with some multiplayer on the side, and then built off that. That's the problem, is that they want a live service. Yes, there's multiplayer in Doom, but it's not the live service game that Sony wants. They want a game that they can essentially put minimal effort into. Helldivers, someone can tell me if they feel like more effort's been going into that live service game, but they're definitely focused on how much MTX. And that's what the guy was talking about. Herman was talking about how half of Helldivers revenue comes not from buying the game, but for the microtransactions. And that's what Sony wants. They want to milk players. And that's why you're probably going to see more egregious MTX and Destiny, which I would be more okay with if we got quality that matched it. Again, someone who actually actively plays Helldivers, tell me, or do you feel that you're at least getting quality from the updates? You're getting quality from the game? Because if you are, then at least you can, there's some justification to having MTX. And I think the updates to Helldivers are also free. Someone can correct me on that too. I'm not going to say I know everything that is Helldivers, but that's what Sony wants to latch on. They see Helldivers as like the success that they want to continue with like Marathon. And I don't see that happening because Helldivers was also more friendly toward new players, and extraction shooters generally are not. I'm being honest, right? But if they want this game to succeed, they need to delay it. They need to delay it. They need to put all the fan favorite, the things that people want, right? They need to put solo. They need to have some kind of PvE mode, whether big or small, something even if it's not, you don't have time to do a full blown PvE thing, do something small that at least can satiate, some of the players. Put in proximity chat, release all characters, all guns, and if you'd only have a couple guns, make more guns, put up shit ton of guns, make loot matter. People give a crap about it. That was a big complaint. A lot of people said the loot was just mid and not interesting. Amp up, you can have 4 attachments on a gun. No, you need to go deep into customization about the weapons. That's one of the kind of golden gooses Bungie has is gunplay. Invest in that. And who gives a shit about, perks and stuff for your character? No one gives a shit about looter, a Valorant style game. They want to play the gun game, right? They want to shoot things. Focus on that. Invest more into the gun and customization of the gun versus the characters. That's what I would do. I would do focus on what is the bread and butter, the guns, customization, the whole shebang. Then, listen, I know it may break immersion, but no one gives a shit. I mean, I take it back. There's 10% that gives a shit about the graph, the art in Marathon. Bring back the classic stuff from the classic Marathon, the skins. Instead of having this weird looking shotgun, make it look like the OG Marathon shotgun. Make that an optional skin. So people who don't want to look at some weird Roblox, Minecraft looking gun, they can just use that skin to satisfy them. Also, let full customization of character design. Screw the skins. Let the people customize their own character. Do custom skins. You could use the runners as the base, but let them customize how they want to customize. That you need to do this if you want people to be more happy with the game. You're never going to drive sales if people just don't give a shit, right? So implement the customization in your character. Release all the maps. Don't delay or wait. No one wants to buy a brand new game. This isn't Destiny. We're not playing a raid. Looking at you, Scarrow. No one gives a shit about a new game if it doesn't have the full release at launch. No one wants to wait a week to play a new content. Again, that might work with Destiny and an expansion. That's part of the community is okay with that. But when you're looking at the wider gamer universe, no one likes that shit. Release everything at launch. Have it available. Have it ready. Especially for $40 and you want this thing to be successful. You're releasing everything. You're throwing everything into the pan. You're letting it out so that you can try to entice people to play your game. And I would remove the pay product. Absolutely remove it. Free to play. How do you substitute that? You just do you do tiers. You do a tier system, like a starter kit, a new player, not starter kit, but an investor kit. For $40, if you buy this, you're investing. You're going to get some special features. The game is free, but you're supporting us. You're supporting the game. You're going to get the special nameplate. You're going to get your name is going to be gold. You're going to get special animation. You're going to, if you buy this, you're going to get special gold guns, right? Okay, I got every gun I have is going to be gold now. Hell yeah. That's the kind of stuff in it. It's optional. You don't have to buy it. It's optional But if you put that in there, people will buy it, especially if it looks good. Like, you put stuff in there people want, and the game is free, people are going to be more tolerable to it. That's just my thoughts. This game is not going to do well like Helldivers. It's just not. It's not going to have the same pull because it's already a very niche population. And then you've got the drama, you've got the negativity from the alpha. Like, even people who liked it criticized how it wasn't very innovative and there wasn't really much going on for it to separate it from other extraction shooters, which is one of the things that Sony tried to sensationalize. Was, hey, we're bold and innovative and engaging, and it's not been any of that. It might be bold, but it's definitely not innovative. I personally think instead of wasting time and resources on story, throw it out the window. Take your loss unless you want to build PvE and put it in the PvE. Take the loss, take the L, move on. And then lastly, here's how you really make people care. Add a custom game mode where people can go in and customize the map. They can customize how many people are playing. They can customize abilities. They can customize rules. Essentially, if I wanted to go in and make my own custom arena shooter, right? I make the game mode, I make the rules and spawn rate that you just respawn in, and we can have an arena shooter in custom games, and then make it to where it can just be played by anyone, right? Everyone can jump in and play in that mode. It's kind of out there in custom games. That's kind of what Fortnite does, and Fortnite's 100% free, and Halo's been surviving based on Forge. Like, Forgers are literally the backbone of Halo Infinite, keeping it alive. These aspects will give more life to Marathon. Plus, it will satisfy the people who want more than an extraction shooter. It will also satisfy people who don't want to play with groups if you don't have a solo mode. But it allows people to be creative, especially if they make different game modes. Then you can go in and be like, hey, you know what? We like your idea. We'd like to compensate you for your work, and we're going to port this over and make it an official game mode that people can choose to play. It's just small stuff like that can really add to a game. I'm not video game Jesus. I'm not here to be the savior of Marathon, but some of these are just common sense things that just work, right? And unfortunately, Sony and Bungie kind of have lost common sense. They've kind of lost their way of how do we engage with players. To them, players are nothing more than a number, and that's all they care about. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below what you think. Kind of rambly at the end, but again, if you want to save the game, you've got to put the work into it. And unfortunately, leadership on both sides, Sony and Bungie, is actually what's hindering the game, which is a problem. I'll see you guys in the next one. Until next time, game out.